Mr. President, it heartens me there's always room for middle ground and meaningful reform and collaboration in this place. At the outset, can I thank Ms. Amelia Freitas, South Australian parliamentary intern student through the Uni of South Australia, and this is important, Mr. President, because she did a substantial body of work for my office that dealt with deep fakes and the impact on women and girls, much of which has been referred to today. Can I also make special thanks to the Assistant Minister for AI, Mr. Brown, or the member for Florey, not just for his collaboration on this bill, but his dedication more broadly to ensuring AI plays its role in emerging technologies in safe and appropriate ways. It's a critically important body of work, and I know the Assistant Minister, who is also a computer programmer by background, I understand, has been keen to promote AI opportunities, but not at the expense of these sorts of laws, and in so doing he has in fact prioritised the safety of victims of deep fakes, the majority of whom, in fact almost 100% of whom, as we've just heard, are women and girls. And I do note again, I think it's worth pointing out for the record, the Assistant Minister led an inquiry that backed calls to develop this sort of technology capability, and that was very welcome and had multi-partisan support from this Parliament, but again has prioritised these areas. There is, of course, a very sinister side to AI, and it comes at great personal cost to its victims. So I'm equally pleased that we've used that the Minister has used his position to promote and advocate for these laws. And of course, I thank the Attorney-General for his commitment to strengthening our laws when it comes to issues of sexual offending, sexual harassment, child exploitation. And this body of work is really a continuation for me of something that I think we've all been committed to, and he has shown a genuine desire to get right in this place. When it comes to stamping out abuse and empowering victims. And I'm grateful to both the Attorney and the Assistant Minister for their willingness to work so collaboratively and constructively on this bill. It is... I'd also, of course, like to thank today's speakers, the Honourable Ms Lee, the Honourable Mr Sims, the Attorney-General, the Leader of the Opposition, for what I think is a good outcome in politics when we all come together in this multi-partisan way and support something that is so critically important in our community. As we've heard, overwhelmingly it is women and girls who are the victims of deepfake abuse. As the Assistant Minister said earlier today, you don't have to be Taylor Swift to be the subject of inappropriate deepfakes. And today we are collectively drawing a line in the sand and introducing what will be the toughest laws in the country. Together with Victoria, we are leading the nation through these reforms. Mr. President, you've heard that current estimates suggest that up to 95 to 98% of all deepfakes are non-consensual pornography, and 99% of victims are women and girls. And the E-Safety Commissioner, as the Honourable Jing Lee has pointed out, has reported that explicit deepfake content online has exploded by a whopping 550% year on year since 2019. It is becoming one of the most serious threats facing women and young girls online, and even more frighteningly, it's happening in our schoolyards. And that's because what 2 or 3 years ago was very much in the realm of hackers and the underworld of the internet is now mainstream. It is being used to harass, to shame, to intimidate, to extort and to violate young women and girls with devastating psychological impacts and worse still, suicides. Sadly, it is perpetrated in the main by men and reflects broader cultural attitudes around power, control and entitlements over women's and girls' bodies. And these laws make it clear we will not stand by while technology is weaponised to humiliate and harm anyone. There is no excuse for this, and if you feel entitled enough, Mr. President, to exploit, to humiliate, to denigrate and to degrade a person by using their image without their consent, then you should feel the full consequences of the law. There is simply no excuse for this sort of behaviour, and it will not be tolerated. And that is what the work of this place today reflects, and I'm very grateful for that. Mr. President, I think in closing I'll just leave you with this. It should horrify all of us, and it horrifies me, and I'm sure it does horrify us all equally, especially when it comes to our kids, that victims of child pornography and child exploitation material could be none the wiser that their images have been used to create hideous, horrendous and sickening content, that their families and parents may be none the wiser that their kids' images are being used for such sickening and depraved purposes. That doesn't make them victimless crimes, though, and we have to do all we can, as the Honourable Rob Sims said, to keep up with technologies that enable perpetrators who use these tools for such sinister and depraved purposes. Just in terms of the amendments, Mr. President, I might take this opportunity to speak to them because it's probably the easiest way to deal with this bill going forward. As the attorney said, we've taken the best elements of both bills and put them together. And in practice, I remind honourable members in this place again, firstly of the importance of, sorry, I'll just pause there and remind honourable members firstly of the importance of education and deterrence. We've seen how important these sorts of laws are when it comes to sexting offences, to the stealthing laws that we pass through this place, to consent laws, especially amongst younger people. And it's absolutely critical that it should form part of the education curriculum going forward. There are a number of amendments to the bill, and the easiest way to explain that is that rather than tinkering with the existing provisions and incorporating them into, as I had initially proposed, into clause 5A or subsection 5A, I've effectively introduced amendments in set 3, which seek to do all of the things that we've agreed to do in one consistent set. And I've done that first because it's much cleaner, it's much more streamlined, and it deals explicitly with deep fakes. And this is important because, as I've said, it's cleaner for one, but more importantly, it fits in with the intent of this bill to remove any doubt and close any potential loophole when it comes to deciphering between a real image, an image that is wholly generated by AI, or an image that is partly generated by AI. So in short, the laws as amended will apply to all images, regardless of whether they are real or generated in part or in whole by AI. It is the depiction of a simulated person itself and the creation of that depiction that will form the basis of these laws, and together with existing laws, the creation and or dissemination or even threat to disseminate will be the subject to hefty criminal penalties. So the bill will, as amended, remove any doubt as to its applicability for perpetrators of deepfake abuse, and it will also ensure consistency with penalties under the existing penalty regime. With those words, Mr. President, I thank everybody once again, all honourable members across the political divide for their support on this. I thank the attorney for working diligently with me to get to this point, and look forward to the swift passage of this bill through this place.
Honourable Benares.
I move that the bill now be read a third time.
Put the question. Those are the questions say aye, against say no. The ayes have it. Clerk.
A bill for an act to amend the Summary Offences Act 1953.
And the question is that this bill do now pass. Those are the questions say aye, against say no. The ayes have it.